Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're calling in from. Welcome to the Hardworking Dad Club, a community for hardworking dads trying to escape the 9 to 5 rat race. So today we're going to talk about why start this, and with my friend RJ here, we're going to go through it. RJ, have any opening words?
Yeah, morning, Curtis. How are you?
Good, thanks, RJ.
Good, good, good. Yeah, again, I thought today we'd just discuss what is a hardworking dad? Why is it so important to us? Why did we bother creating such a podcast or such a movement in the first place?
Well, I'm a hardworking dad. I've worked construction for many years. I've actually had several different jobs at the same time. One time I actually had 4 jobs. Pretty crazy, eh?
Yeah, listen, I've been there. I've done what I had to do. I've had, like used to say, I had my full time job, I had a part time job, trying to start our business on the side, and at the same time trying to manage a family life. Which I mean, that's what has to be where our priority is. That's why we're doing all of this in the first place, right?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes the family does get little put off to the back burner just because we're trying to focus too much on one thing. And they always say, "Hey, what are you doing?" As you know, we've had some issues, each of us, according to our family, and dynamics might be a little bit different. But I know you had, was it almost like you almost broke up with your wife, I think.
Yeah,
Is
we
it
had a
true?
hard time where we were struggling to stay together. So I mean, and that's why it's so important to us. Is you know what? There are a lot. I'm sure there's lots and lots of dads out there just like us who are trying to, even if they're not trying to start a business or get a side hustle going on, so that they're getting out of their day to day job. Even if they're just trying to maintain their day to day job,
Yep.
a lot of dads, look, you put in a 12-hour day plus commute time. So there's a 14-hour day. You get home, you're exhausted, right?
Yeah.
You may not have an opportunity to spend that quality time with family. So,
Or engage time, or like focus
yeah.
on them. Yeah, I know. I've done that a lot. Actually. Kind of like usually when I came home and if my daughter was first born, I would always spend at least 1 hour before eating dinner with her,
Mhm.
make her laugh, have fun, and stuff like that. So that's one of the things I used to do when I first came home. Now it's kind of more difficult because she has her own thing. As kids get older, they have their more independence. So that's always kind of interesting, dynamic as well. So that's what I'm doing with right now. I know there are other hardworking dads out there who've probably also have experienced similar things. If you have, let us know in the comments what kind of issues you had and how maybe you solved them, or if
Yeah,
you have any
that's something.
questions for us to ask,
Yeah,
and
because we
maybe we can
can
help you
talk about
as
these
well.
in later issues, right? In
Yeah,
later podcasts.
yeah,
So, yeah, I agree. And you know what? Let's talk about it. That there are several types of dads out there, right? First
mhm,
of all, there are deadbeat dads out there. So let's
yeah,
talk about that for a second, because you and I, we prioritize family, right?
yeah,
That's what we do, and how we maintain our life. But there are dads out there who either they don't acknowledge their kids, or they don't, because of the relationship with the mother of the child, they don't maintain a good relationship, or they lose contact with their
mhm,
kids. And I think for the kids, I think it's important that they have that role model person in their life. And if they don't
yeah.
have you as the dad, as their father, they're going to find a role model somewhere else, right?
They may
So,
not be the most pleasant person either, as I'm sure you've read in other books, heard other stories about some other people who've up and coming artists or celebrities who have had the wrong person in their life saying, "Oh, hey," and get into bad behaviors that cause them more issues in their life, even though they could have been more successful if they didn't know that person and if they actually had that relationship with their father. So I think being a father figure for your kids, no matter what it is with the relationship with the other person that you've had the kid with, is important. It's not about that person, it's more about the kid. So I think you focus on your kid first and not worry about the other person. I think most people would say, yeah, I would probably do a better job at being a dad for my kid if I didn't focus on that other person and the issues you have, right? Because sometimes our ego gets in the way of dealing with the person, and the emotion level kind of gets heightened because of the issues. And sometimes I think as dads we forget that, hey, listen, maybe I should just let that go. But for some reason our ego won't let it. It's like a really
yes.
difficult situation for some of us, or for some men. I don't know, everybody's the
Yeah,
same or not,
whether we
but
take it personally, or whether something in our subconscious tells us, I need to, this is bothering me, or and we don't even have that thought process of it, right? It just this is happening. This is how I'm dealing with it, right? So there's no consideration for, oh, maybe I should take a minute and think about it this way and react this way or respond this way, right? We
Yeah.
just don't have that moment. It's just we see this, we deal with it, right? And this is how we deal with it. So and so then the other thing is, I hope there's not too many deadbeat dads. I know there's a lot. Unfortunately, there is.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can reach a couple of them and say, look, you know what? Maybe paying attention to your kids or acknowledging your kids or getting involved with your kids
Or
uh,
even,
is something you may need to pay attention to and
yep.
maybe change in your life. So I hope we
Yep.
can reach people that way. And then the next one is, to me, anyways, is those parents or fathers who are disconnected. Like they have the mother to father dynamic, they live together as a
Yep.
couple with their kids, but they're still disengaged. In other words, they come home, it's the wife who takes care of the kids,
Yep.
she spends all the time with them, so they really don't allow their kids that quality time or that father figure to lean on, right? He's really not there for his kids even though he's at home.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts in that one? I don't experience that. I don't think you do. But what do you have any recommendations for those type of fathers? What are your thoughts there?
I don't know. I know there's lots out there. Most of them don't pay child support, which is they're
No,
not really.
I'm talking about the dads who are at home, like they live
Oh,
with
sorry. Yeah.
their kids and their wife, but they really don't get involved because they let the wife maintain the household and maintain the family, and they
Some of
just
it.
come home and crack the beer or just go out in the backyard and maybe
Yep.
say goodnight to the kids at bedtime, if that, right?
That was a tough one because I don't know too many people like that or have talked to them. I think they maybe don't care or they don't have the connection they need. There could be other dynamics I'm unsure of. But
Mm,
if anybody out there does have that situation, would like to let us know, leave a comment, and
mhm.
maybe we can figure it out or bring them
Right,
on to the podcast, right?
because we know they exist, right? Well, at least we see about them in the movies and television,
Yep.
right? So I'm sure they
Macho in
exist.
this.
Yeah, but I wish we could speak to them in some way. You and I, we pride ourselves on our family relationships,
Yep.
right?
Yep, for sure.
So I want to be able to help those kind of dads as well. Maybe even just speaking us to it. Maybe somebody out there realizes, you know what, I really don't pay enough attention to my kids, and a little more attention, a little more daddy time
Yep,
will give them that opportunity to change their relationship and maybe have that bond that we all desire. So
for sure. Yeah,
and
I don't
then
know if that was a tough question though for me. I don't know that many
yeah,
people.
I didn't know how to answer it either, so I
Yep.
just
Well, maybe someone out there does. You can help
yeah,
us out.
absolutely. And I wanted to acknowledge that. That's all. So
Perfect.
and then there's finally, like I said, there's you and I who are we're struggling to do it. Our family is our first priority,
Yep.
but at the same time we're struggling to do it because we work hard full time.
It's like a juggling act.
We come home, we are tired, maybe we
Uh-huh.
want to get some rest, but at the same time we have a part-time gig to put on, or we
Yep.
have a business, a side hustle to operate, um, and then we still want to maintain that family time. So
For
let's
sure.
talk about what you and I do to kind of bridge that gap.
It's just sort of like one of those things you just got to do. You make the time for a minute or two, and then you go do your own thing. So you like time block is one of the things I like to call it. I come home, I know my kid's here, so I'll start cooking dinner, and I try to get my kid involved with that. So I kind of like time together, right? Or sometimes I come home and she wants to do something, so I focus on whatever she wants for a bit, and then I move on to what we need to like, make dinner, do whatever stuff for the house that needs to be required. And my
Mhm.
wife does the same thing. She helps out and she does her things too, right, with my kid. And if we're all home, we just hang out, we make dinner, and we watch a TV show or a movie together. That's our family
Mhm.
time, right?
Yep.
Especially on weekends, if we're home, 100%, we do that just to have that moment. And then we chit chat about the movie or make fun or whatever, right? So
Yep.
we always like do stuff. So it's kind of cool because your kid will always love you and be there for you. It's a cool dynamic because like even if you do something wrong, the kids will, "Hey, Dad, how's it going?" or say, "I love you," and they be like, "Oh my God, you're amazing,"
Yeah.
right?
I
And that
I
means a
think
lot.
that I love you, Daddy, when things are going bad, I think that means more than anything. It hits right
Yeah,
to the heart, right? Because
yeah,
you're like, wait a minute, I just been an a-hole the last hour, but my
Okay.
son's telling me I love you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
wait a minute, like that's love, right? So
yeah, for sure.
that's why we do it,
Unconditional.
right?
Yeah. Unconditional
Absolutely,
love.
that's why we do it. And so I think you mentioned blocking out time, which is amazing. There's another thing you mentioned there, and you glazed over it. You went through it so quick, but
Oh,
I help my wife around the house. Like, listen, we want that quality time between partners, right? And you know, if your wife's running around cleaning the house and you're sitting there watching television or you're doing a
yeah.
side hustle or whatever, she's not feeling very good about you. So why is she going to rush to come and spend time with you
Yeah.
when you don't want to spend time with her when she's got to do what she's got to do? So when it's time to clean the house at my house, I'll usually do some vacuuming. I even do the dishes once in a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
I'll do the vacuuming, and then she'll come around and do the mop the floors. You know what I mean? So that we do it
Yeah.
together.
Tag teaming it. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and then it's done sooner, and then we can rest or spend some quality time together because we both finished what needs to be done, right?
Right on. Cool.
And then of course, you and I always schedule out whatever's going on, right? Like we both had and things come up. I will say that things come up.
Oh yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
think by scheduling out that family time, right? You know,
Yeah.
for me, Saturdays, I block off Saturdays because I do family things. I do
Oh,
social things on Saturdays because that way I know what day of the week I'm going to spend time with family.
yes.
I don't do business. I don't do, other things going
Except
on.
for next Saturday.
Well, yeah, yeah, but again, I've scheduled, and that's what I was
Yeah.
getting into is,
Right on.
making sure you schedule what's going on. So yes, I don't do Saturdays for the most part, but I mean, if I've scheduled it a month or so in advance, I know that this day I've got to do that. So making time to schedule. Look, you went off to Halloween haunt yesterday, right? You
Yep.
said
Yeah. With
so,
the
but
kids. Yeah.
again, scheduling that time so that we can be social, so that we can be interactive together, and
Mhm.
spend that quality time is
Yep.
important. So, um, to the
Calendars are
hardworking.
great.
Absolutely. I rely on it so much.
Not
I've
just
got
the digital, but actually the written one as well, so everybody knows what's going on.
yeah, I don't do that anymore. My kids are grown up, but yeah, to me it's digital, but I will say this, my wife, but we've shared our calendars with each other,
Oh, nice.
right? So I see what she's got going on, she sees what I got going on,
Cool.
right? So that we know what's, again, can we schedule this? Oh no, Rob's got this going on, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that's a priority is scheduling your time where it matters. So
Yeah, for sure.
So
Because
anything else? Because I mean, we've spoken to who we're talking to and why.
yeah,
Um,
for sure. And just the time is most valuable thing in our lives that we can never get back. I always read that in books and stuff, and then sometimes you don't always think about it, but if you actually start thinking about how time is of value to you and you cannot get it back, you kind of look at things differently and you try to prioritize things. Because sometimes you might miss the kids' play or something, but the kid's looking for you. They're hoping for your support, and you think, oh, I got to work or I got to do this is more important. But
mm,
sometimes it's just your kid should be a priority, even though you may have to work a lot, and it is important. But a lot of times we get stuck at work because we kind of like I don't know if it's a people pleasing thing or if it's just that we feel that we're gonna get promoted or something if we don't do something. You know what I mean? That
yep.
feeling of like, oh, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna get promoted. I'm gonna deny my promotion.
It's the fear of failure, right? The fear of failure. It's the fear that if I don't do this, I'm going to be looked down at as somebody who doesn't come through or doesn't accomplish anything,
Yep.
doesn't accomplish much. So it's that fear of failure. But how about the fear of missing out, right? Because that's the greatest human regret.
Mhm.
Is when we look back, we don't wish we had more money. We wish we had more time, and we wish we spent that time differently,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, um, like you said, you know there's only so many, like you may miss an event.
Yep.
It happens.
Oh yeah.
But when you miss consistent events and your child's constantly looking out from the curtain or looking out from the sports field and seeing that empty seat, they know like there's not a connection. And so that changes their relationship, changes the dynamic, changes their feelings. It changes who they're going to
Mhm.
grow up to be.
Yeah, for sure. But sometimes we don't see that the future of what we're doing today until later on,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
sometimes a discussion like we're doing here today might say, "Hey, Dad, wake up."
And so there it is right there. That's why we're doing this. That's why hardworking dads is so important to us.
Absolutely. Perfect.
So
Good note to
that's
end on
all.
there, Jay.
No, yeah, I think that's a good note to end on
Yeah.
because I don't have
Awesome.
much more to say beyond this.
Perfect.
So
Awesome.
I'll
All
let
right,
you.
guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave comments below or email us at hardworkingdads.com or hello@hardworkingdads.com, and we'll get back to you soon.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
RJ.
guys.
Have a good one. Bye.